welcome to another day of history. Today we are looking at qualities of an empire, what makes up an empire. So that is our learning target today, identify the components of an empire. Do either of you girls know what an empire is? Any guesses?
Isn't it like some sort of ruling system?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Anything to add to that, Haley? Nothing? Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Well, that's really good, Mackenzie. So we have these different things that make up an empire, and so today we're going to go over them. But first, let's define empire. According to Webster, an empire is a major political unit having a territory of great extent or a number of territories or people under a single sovereign authority. So when we think of empire, think of it as like an authoritarian group or organization controlling somebody else, basically, and territory along with that. However, there are three main topics that I'd like to focus on, three main qualities that make up an empire. The first one being nationalism. And what is nationalism? Do you guys know what nationalism is pertaining to an empire? So if I have nationalism to America, what are some American nationalist qualities, I guess?
Like eating hamburgers and having barbecues.
Right, yeah, okay. So like a nationalism is like the identification with your nation, the belief that your nation is like the best, and you support that nation, right? And so examples of American nationalism were kind of like what you said, baseball, America, our English language, red, white, and blue, freedom of speech, like the First Amendment, right? Okay, so now we've got that covered. So let's check out the second one, colonialism. When you think of an empire, maybe in the past, we think of a colonial power. And so can you guys define colonialism in your own words, maybe?
I know a colony is like a group of people.
Yeah, like
place.
when we think of colonies, we think of the 13 colonies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who was, we weren't in control of those colonies, the Americans weren't. Who was? Great Britain, right?
Yes.
Okay, the king, way over in England, way far away, right? Okay, so colonialism is one country's rule over another people with economic, political, and or social gain in mind. So in this case, with the Americans and the British, they were looking for raw materials. So they would, take lumber or whatnot back to England to produce chairs, tables, whatever. So what are some country examples of colonialism? I already told you one, Great Britain. Can anybody think of any more? Any other European powers at the time, maybe 200, 300 years ago? Next to England, maybe? Let's picture Europe, right? You can say about any one of those and you'd be right. Italy, okay. What about another one that speaks Spanish? Spain, okay. What's a country right next to Spain that was in Brazil? Right off the coast, right next to Spain. Portugal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It took so long.
So some other examples would be Great Britain, Spain, France, right? Portugal, the Netherlands, the Dutch, all right? So that's the second quality of what makes up an empire. So the third quality here is sovereignty. Does anybody know what sovereignty means?
A sovereign nation, they're free from
Their own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So the absolute rule by one individual or another powerful governing body. So some examples of a sovereign nation would be like self-governance, a representative democracy like we have, federal, state, and local government. So there's three levels of government. So just some examples of what can make up a sovereign government. So we'll skip all this. And so this is your assignment for today. We're going to have you work in groups. The two of you are going to choose a country either from this list or from another country you guys can think of. And so you'll pair up and you're going to decide on a country, and we're just going to focus on nationalism today. And we're going to find nationalistic aspects that make up a country. So I'm going to pass this out to you guys, and if you guys want to work together on first coming up with a country you'd like to focus on, either one from the list or one you have in your head, and having 3 or 5 nationalistic qualities that make that country that country.
Perfect.
So,
What country
don't-
would you like? Do you want to pick one from the list?
I like France.
France? Okay.
okay. France. So what makes France France?
Cheese. That reminds me
I was
of
gonna
France.
say food.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Oh, what's that thing called? There's like a, I mean the Eiffel Tower, and then
Oh yeah.
the Seine is another place that people go.
The what?
Let's not include that one. I don't know how to spell it.
Do they wear a certain type of hat? Maybe?
Oh yeah, beret. It's B-E-R-E-T.
Yeah.
But close.
Yeah. My goodness. B-E-R-E-T.
Yeah.
My word.
What about?
Their colors are red, white, and blue too, right?
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
flag.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
What about just like the language?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
a good one.
perfect. Okay, that's fine. Great job, guys. So now you guys know what an empire is, and more importantly, you know what nationalism is, one of the key factors that makes up an empire. Thanks for your hard work.